Hi, my name is Annabel Fisher. I'm an EFT expert on chronic illness and pain, and I'm also a progressive emotional release certified practitioner. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques. EFT was founded in the early 1990s by an American life coach, Gary Craig, and his background was engineering. So he came from quite a scientific background. The premise behind EFT is that our bodies are made up of energy, and energy flows up and down the meridian channels, the energy channels in our body. And if for whatever reason we experience trauma or a negative event of any kind, it causes blockages in these energy channels. And when we have blockages in the channels, it means that we respond in perhaps a more negative way. For example, we feel grief or anger or guilt, sadness, any kind of negative emotion. And the idea with EFT is that it works in a similar way to acupuncture. With acupuncture, we would work on the blockages in the meridian channels by inserting acupuncture needles into specific points on the body. With EFT, we use our first and second fingers and we tap on those specific endpoints. And by tapping, just as the acupuncturist needle clears the energy blocks, by tapping we can release those blocks in our energy pathways and restore health and well-being. So that the ultimate effect is a sense of calm, reassurance, clarity, a different kind of perspective, and we're looking at the situation very differently. I was introduced to EFT in 2004 when I was experiencing severe chronic fatigue syndrome. A friend of mine had just recently trained as a practitioner and told me that he thought he had the answer to my prayers. Of course, I wasn't sure. I tried so many different therapies to heal myself. By that stage, I'd had chronic fatigue syndrome for about 9 months. But I thought I would try it. I had nothing to lose. So he spent about 30 minutes with me and we worked on the fear that I felt. I had an intense fear that I would either never recover from chronic fatigue syndrome or that it would take me 20, 30, 40 years. And within a few minutes we had released a lot of the fear that I had around that particular issue. And we also worked on my fear of a lack of money because I'd had to quit my job as a teacher because I was so sick. So we released that fear too. So I started using EFT on a daily basis and I tapped on myself, clearing those negative blocks in my energy system and releasing all sorts of emotions that I had, fears about being unwell, anger about different situations in my life, sadness because someone I was very close to had recently died. And all the emotions just cleared so quickly and easily. It was an amazingly impressive tool. But of course, one of the most effective things that I found was as I started clearing those negative memories, as a positive side effect, my physical symptoms began to rapidly reduce or completely clear. So sometimes I wouldn't even have to tap on the specific physical pain that I was in or any of the physical symptoms I was experiencing. They were just clearing naturally as I was working through a traumatic memory or a negative emotion that I was feeling. The way that I approached how I was feeling and how the emotions could be keeping me sick was a little overwhelming at first. Where do you start? And often when I start working with clients, they'll often say to me, well, where on earth do I start? I just feel so much. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. I just wrote a list of everything that I was feeling at that time, any dis-ease, any imbalance in my life, and that could have been something that irritated me that morning, or a more chronic emotion such as anger or sadness about something that had previously happened to me. Anything that was unresolved, anything that kept coming up and bothering me and causing me further anxiety. And once I'd listed all of those, and of course that list was compiled over time. I didn't just sit down and write it all in one afternoon. I mean, different thoughts and ideas were coming to me on an ongoing basis. As I had created the list, I then addressed each specific event with EFT. But one of the most wonderful things about EFT is, as we start to clear certain emotions, naturally other debilitating memories or limiting self-beliefs or negative emotions are cleared anyway. So we don't have to go through hundreds and hundreds of different events or thoughts or beliefs and clear each one of those specifically or individually. And this is one of the joys of EFT. I work with clients with a range of issues, including post-traumatic stress disorder, and we find that they might have 50 negative memories, traumatic memories, that are easily cleared because I simply address one or two memories with them.